Have you ever heard or either been guilty of saying these words?
It was love at first sight.
Hold up. What does that really even mean? Are you saying that their appearance makes you love them? Or their appearance simply makes you feel a special type of way about them? But either way, we're going to learn today as we discuss the importance of singleness in relationships and how to date healthy. You ready? What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Real Talk. So let's be real with Be Real. Let's dive in. Relationships is a universal topic that everybody can relate to as well as benefit from because we live in a world surrounded by people who build, guess what? Relationships, no matter how good or bad they are. Now, since relationships is such a broad topic, to make this simple, we're going to talk primarily about singleness and dating in this video. In the next video, we'll discuss more about marriage and divorce. Now, for those of you who may be trying to figure out what credentials do you actually have to talk about these subject matters, sir, to ease your mind, I actually have a PhD in philosophy as well as philanthropy. That's right, a PhD. Prophetic Holy Downloads. That's right, I said it. That is my PhD. Of course, along with some personal life experiences and experiences from others. But concerning singleness, this is a season that most people hate for some strange reason because we are eagerly trying to find ways to work around it. Singleness is so important because of the simple fact it gives us an opportunity to discover what real unconditional love is, as well as who we really are. Because a lot of us go through life and have no idea who we really are. So in this season, we're given the chance to figure it out. But a lot of us start as early as elementary years, trying to find a boyfriend or girlfriend to try to fill that void that we're desperately looking to try to fill because I don't understand who I really am or what love is. I like this person and this person is going to help me feel better about myself. But all it's really doing is just setting you up for potential disasters later on in life. Concerning singleness, we also are no strangers to this term, love at first sight. So let's actually try to figure out, where did this start? Well, I'm glad you asked. This concept actually started from Roman and Greek mythology gods, Eros and Cupid, who would shoot their love arrows at people and make them instantly love each other. Now, this concept wasn't introduced into English literature until 1598. And from there, it began to run wild in, the shows and movies we watch as well as the songs we listen to. But Psychology Today, a 2017 study by researchers from the University of Groningen, mentioned that this love at first sight concept is more of a positive illusion because of the fact our brains produce high levels of serotonin as well as dopamine whenever we are infatuated greatly by someone or something. So we can clearly identify this not as being love at first sight, but more like lust or infatuation at first sight. And while we are breaking down this concept, let's actually go a step further and even define what is love. Love, as Webster defines it, is an intense feeling of deep affection, a deep feeling of romantic and sexual attachment to someone, and it's a great interest or pleasure in something. So we clearly see that Webster is defining love as a feeling, something connected to our senses. But love is not sensual. Real, unconditional love is an intentional decision to consistently commit to willingly sacrifice unconditionally your life for somebody else's benefit. So we can clearly see love is not something that happens instantly. it develops over time because you cannot have consistency apart from time. Now, when it comes down to understanding why singleness is so important, we have to look at the fact time is something that we cannot get back. So, this season of singleness, although we may be desiring to hurry up and get out of it, this time we won't ever be able to get back. So, we need to learn how to maximize it by understanding, hey, what is unconditional love? And how do I really even love myself? So I need to learn how to first love myself before I ever can expect somebody else to love me. But in order for me to love myself, I really need to understand what love is. Because if I'm seeking after someone to give me this in hopes that I can feel complete, I'm setting them up for disappointment as well as myself. And we're going to both be frustrated trying to figure out why we're not getting what we really want. And that's the issue with singles trying to hurry up and get to the next stage. Now, the struggles of singleness, man, are many. But the main three that I see and have personal experience is impatience, discontentment, as well as lack of accountability. Jonathan J.P. Precluder have a book titled Outdated. And in this book, he states, there are no married people problems, just single people problems carried into marriage. Now, this is not saying that you won't have your unique marriage issues. Like, of course you will. But most of the problems within marriages are due to the fact that singles have stepped into this process and have not taken the time out to discover who they really are or even what love really is. Love is not, I like this person a lot, so I'm going to give them what I think they need in hopes that they give me what I think I need. Love is unconditional. There's no back and forth. When it comes down to singles being impatient, we often don't want to go through the process of trying to figure out what is love, or how to love myself, or even discover who I really am. Because we just want to be with somebody. Because we see it in all the movies and the shows, hear it in all the songs. So our natural desire is to want to be with somebody. But not only that, because of what we see, we're also, you could say, born with the eager desire to be connected to be known, and to be seen. All of us want that. And because we want to be connected to and be known and seen, we are willing to step out of this season of learning more about someone who already connects to us, loves us, knows us, and sees us. We don't want to try to figure that out or discover that. We just want to, look, I need somebody I can personally and physically see to help me feel, I feel good about myself. So we try to rush out of this process, but not realizing it is basically like us trying to half bake a cake or either undercook some chicken, per se. Have you ever tried baking a cake and you put it in the oven, you take it out, all of a sudden it's just rising, it looks good, and then you find yourself putting a little toothpick inside of it, pull out the toothpick and it's all mushy. You're like, oh, why is it still mushy? And it's primarily because of the fact you did not take the time out to let it fully cook. So you got to put it back in and let it cook longer. Or you actually grilling some chicken, you got it all crispy on the outside, you put your little sauce on it, like, yeah, I'm about to tear this thing up. Pull the chicken off the grill, cut it open, and all of a sudden you see blood. Like, ugh, this thing ain't cooked. It's raw. So you have to cook it back, put it back on the grill, and finish cooking it. It's the same way with us trying to rush out of our single season prematurely. We don't want to do that because all it's going to do is hurt us and hurt somebody else in the long run. So we might as well just try to stick this thing out regardless of how challenging it is. And believe me, I understand it does get challenging as a single to embrace this season. Now, the next thing when it comes down to singleness or struggle of singleness is discontentment. Here is where we see people kind of get frustrated at the fact I'm comparing my life to somebody else's life. Like this person over here, man, they've been single with me, and all of a sudden, wow, they're engaged now. Man, congratulations, they got married. I'm happy for them. Man, this person over here been single just as long as I have. But I'm also noticing that this person does not have the same struggles or challenges that I do. They're actually seeing more breakthrough in their lives. I'm trying to figure out why I'm not seeing as much breakthrough in my life. What am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? What do I need to do more of? And then you see somebody else, like, oh, this person just got saved. Like, oh man, they come in and they're now learning about the season of singleness. And all of a sudden, while they're learning about the season of singleness, they immediately get connected to somebody and now they're talking, they're stepping into a relationship, and we're trying to figure out, wait a minute, how they just got saved, but they don't even know much about God, but they already in a relationship. Like, that ain't fair. So we began to look at things that we don't have compared to the very thing that we already do have. And this is honestly one of the greatest tactics of the enemy, because he would always try to get us to pay attention to the things that we don't have and ignore the very thing that we do have. It's kind of like, when he came to approach Eve, Adam and Eve had everything they needed, everything. But he got Eve to focus on the one thing that God said, I don't want you to mess with that. I'm sorry. You already got everything you need. Right there, just leave that alone. What did he do? He presented this one thing that they could not have as the one thing that they needed to have. So you see how tricky it is. Hey, if you actually get this, this will give you everything you need. This is one thing God don't want you to have. But ignore the fact that you already have everything you need. But this is just a want. But I'm going to twist it to make it seem like it's a need. And that's why we have to be very careful to not be, I'll say, discontent during this season as well, because we must focus on that fact that, yes, I may not have a physical partner with me. Yes, I may want that so bad. But I already have a need that's met. My need is to be loved, to be known, to be seen, and connected to. I already got that need met, though I cannot see him personally. Physically, I have that need already met. So I need to just try to believe that and work on trying to understand more about myself so that I don't get into a place where I'm easily persuaded or even deceived to believe in, oh, this is what you really need. Like, no, I got what I need. That's a want. I'm sorry. Thank you, but no thank you. Now, when it comes down to lack of accountability, this is one that, man, is so important as well, because we must recognize in singleness, it's a beautiful season, but it also can be a dangerous season. Why? Simply because of the fact we are our own personal set of eyes or accountability. We see and hear we want to believe about ourselves. And sometimes what we see and believe about ourselves is not always the best. And we need friends to come along and point out different things in us. Like in this season, this is why it's very important for you to learn how to build friendships with people. Because if you got solid friends around you, they'll begin to point out, hey, this right here is what you're struggling with. Hey, this right here is something that you may need to think more about. Hey, you just been acting weird lately. I don't understand like why you're doing the certain things you're doing, or even speaking the way you're speaking. Or why you not really trying to take care of yourself like you used to. Like, you need people who will be able to speak truth to you, of course, lovingly, but to call you up. Like, hey, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And this right here began to help you see, wow, thank y'all, because I guess I wasn't paying attention to that. And this prepares you to step forward into a healthy season of dating. And this brings us to how to date healthy. Now, when it comes down to dating healthy, one of the key factors we must understand and grasp, in fact, is built off of solid friendships.
What?
Hold up.
Now I know I've already just lost most of y'all, and the rest of y'all have just tuned me out because, like, this brother just said the F word. Like, ain't nobody trying to be friends, man. I got time for that. It's like, I get it. But let me just point out two scriptures that actually highlight the importance of friendships. Proverbs 18:24. tells us, friends come and friends go, but a true friend sticks by you like family. And Proverbs 17:17 tells us, a friend loves through all kinds of weather, but family sticks with you in all kinds of trouble. So you see how it's connecting friends and family together. A true friend will treat you just like family. And this is why we have to understand the importance of friendships. Now, when it comes down to this here, friends and dating, I have to say it. The singleness season is something that the church has honestly just destroyed and put such a, I would say, negative perspective upon that most Christians don't want to be single. They like, I'm so ready to get out of this because, hey, one, I'm being neglected out of church. Then another thing, I'm actually just being, forgotten. I'm being belittled and devalued. So what's the point of me even trying to embrace my singleness? Instead of this being treated as a gift, it's like it's a curse because nothing is beneficial, valuable for me in this season, according to y'all. And this is why we we will discuss this in a later video as well, like Christian singleness, because it's so much mess that needs to be addressed, and I want to take my time out and really just dive deep into those things alone. But when it comes down to dating and friendships, we have to look at the fact friendships can be beneficial because they teach us how to effectively communicate. This is important. You cannot learn how to communicate apart from friends. There's been multiple clinical studies as well as researches to prove that the number one reason why most relationships are destroyed is due to poor communication. Now, there's also a psychologist by the name of Dr. John Gottman who identifies four problematic types of communication. Number one, contempt. This is when you are expressing lack of respect for the other person. Number two, criticism. This is when you are attacking the other person's character. Number three, defensiveness. This is when you are protecting yourself from criticism by either blame shifting or simply making excuses. Number four, stonewalling. This is when you are withdrawing from communication by either ignoring the other person, zoning out, or simply acting busy. Now, I know we have seen or either been guilty of doing some of these at some point in our lives, but just because they may be prevalent to us does not make them normal. In fact, it's actually destructive and dysfunctional, especially when it comes down to us learning how to communicate with the opposite sex. When you are in a position in your singleness season and you have, let's say, same sex, because people are like, nah, you don't want to try to talk to the opposite sex because you may set yourself up to fail and all this stuff. Like, it may not be wise or beneficial for you. Maybe more trouble than you think it is. Like, okay, if that's the case, then I think you may want to look a little deeper because this is not just about one person talking to another person. This is more of a heart issue that needs to be addressed. So maybe you need to either deal with the person in their hearts or even check your own heart to see, like, hey, these people may be mature enough to actually talk to each other without having any stumbles, and me and my fear in the name of caution and wisdom is actually pushing them to also be afraid that they may stumble when they're not even thinking about it. They're just simply trying to learn more about each other and realize, hey, I'm a guy, you're a female. Why do you think this way about certain things? Why do you talk that way? Why do you process this? Wow. And you begin to understand them on a deeper level, and they begin to understand you on a deeper level. And this actually opens you up to have a healthy dating phase. Because when you are able to go into a period of dating where you have taken the time out to understand the opposite sex, which is very critical to any person, you must understand, hey, one, we are unique creatures created differently. We think differently, we act differently, we talk differently. So because that is the case, we may be saying the same thing, but just in a different way. Or we may be looking at a situation, and instead of us being right or wrong, like, oh, wait a minute, we're just looking at this from different angles. So instead of me trying to force my way upon you, I'm gonna actually go and look at it from your view, like, oh wow, and then I'm gonna invite you to look at it from my view. You're like, oh wow, this is amazing, and that's how we establish a solid, healthy dating relationship. But a lot of us don't want to take the time out to establish this because we like to skip the foundation phase of building a solid friendship. We immediately try to go into, hey girl, what's up? I was watching you over there and want to know what you want to do. And we just jump right into that. And we don't realize that may be something that they may be desiring to, but why not? Just step back. Let me actually take my time out to try to get to know you as a friend. Because at the end of the day, I want to be able to have such a great relationship with you, even if we decide to see like, hey, this is something that could go somewhere. You know, we can talk about issues that arise without honestly trying to tear each other down because now my boyfriend, my girlfriend tripping. I ain't got time for them. It's like, nah, though my boyfriend and girlfriend may be tripping, if we started as friends, I can remove that title as boyfriend, girlfriend, and hey, friend, I know we got a lot of stuff going on and you may not want to talk to me and I'm really having a hard time even trying to talk to you right now. But I believe that this is something we need to discuss as friends. Like, I care about you more than anything. I appreciate you and I admire you. And I want to take this time out to try to figure out what is going on. What did I do? Well, let's try to see what happened here that caused this much confusion or chaos. And as you see, that dropped the guards of us just ready to kill each other with knives, like ready to cut your head off. Like, no, I'm gonna disarm myself. As boyfriend and girlfriend, I'm gonna step to you as a friend. That helps, opens the door to a beautiful relationship because communication is the core of a solid and healthy friendship. Now, another thing concerning how to date healthy is we must learn how to expose our weaknesses. This is a topic that a lot of people may like, nah, bro, you tripping. I know you tripping hard now because expose weakness. No, we're taught never let me see you sweat. You know, I want to show you a good side. You know, this side. No, don't look at this side. Oh, no, only this side. You know, let me look at it from an angle. You know, you wanna. That's the thing that we're taught from, you know, social media. Let's put on our filters. Let's actually talk about the positive. Let's make sure put on our makeup and all that stuff. Let's look good for the camera. So but with relationships, I'm sorry, you're dating somebody and you see, man, this is going beyond just friends and it could potentially lead to something more. Why don't we start actually trying to talk about these things that are our weaknesses? Like, one of the main things I love asking people when I see that it could potentially be going somewhere. Hey, what are your greatest fears? What are some of your insecurities? What's your greatest flaw? You know, because if the person can talk about this to you and even to themselves, it shows they've really taken the time out during their season of singleness to get to know what unconditional love is, or even more so, who they really are. Because a lot of us walk into a season of dating carrying baggage and trauma from past, and we have not taken the time out to go through healing. We have not taken the time out to try to deal with the fact, hey, this is not something that is okay, or this isn't functional. This isn't normal. This is very uncomfortable and dysfunctional. So let me try to figure out, what do I need to do to fix this? What do I need to do to try to understand why I respond to people like this? Why I act this way? Why I have such a short temper? Why certain things, you know, trigger me the way that they do? You go through this season and you begin to understand that this is important, especially when it comes down to expressing your weakness. Because I would picture it more like a airport. You know, you walk in the airport, you got all these bags, and you get ready to go through the terminal. And it's like, oh, you gotta check those. All of a sudden, you're looking at man, there's a lot of bags, and people around you also trying to figure out why they got so many bags. So during this season, it'll be smart for you to try to consolidate as much as you can with all these bags from your past, so that when you're able to walk through this terminal, you only got the minimum amount to carry through. And you don't have to pay or either make somebody else pay for the baggage that you're trying to bring into the next stage of your life. Because as you walk through the terminal, guess what? You're about to get ready to get on this plane. This plane gonna actually take off. In other words, it's like a sign of transition. You're about to transition from singleness season to the season of dating. And compared to how things may go in the season of dating, you could eventually get married from that place. So it will be easier and more beneficial for you and the other person if both parties take the time out to sort their luggage out. Hey, man, I don't need this. I don't need that. Nope, that's not important. This, man, I definitely should have been let that go. And you began to consolidate everything together, and you step into a season of freedom. And it's like, man, I'm light. I just got one bag. My little carry on. I'm good now. And the other person got the same thing. And you both began to build with less stress. And that's what makes this whole process so much sweeter. Because you can ask any healthy married couple who've been, married for years. And I guarantee you ask them, what is the key to your longevity and happiness in this marriage? I promise you, they'll tell you communication and friendship. Because those are key factors that help people build into this state. But we have to understand how important it is to establish that and run with it. So in the midst of this, I've learned that a healthy perspective of singleness can help you build solid friendships that teach you how to cultivate great communication, which will lead you to a purposeful dating season. So if you really desire to have a healthy dating season, embrace your season of singleness and enjoy it. Take the time out to sort your baggage. Take the time out to discover what love is. Take the time out to figure out who you really are and how to love yourself, so that you're not making somebody else pay for the fact that you're not understanding what love is. You think love is conditional. No, love at first sight is all a myth. So I want to ask you a power question. What is your greatest struggle as a single? Man, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Let me know what has been your greatest struggle. And as you're leaving your comments, I also challenge you to go through the comments and read somebody else's comment. And on top of that, answer theirs. Because I know for a fact I'm not the only one who has expertise to give concerning relationships and dating. You all have something very valuable to offer as well, and I want to honor that. So it's all about us learning how to gather together as a community and build and strengthen and empower one another. So as you do that, continue to be encouraged and know you are a blessing. You are valuable. You are loved. You are cherished, no matter in what season you're in, especially during this season of singleness. Embrace that and become the best version of you that you possibly can in this season. I'll holler at you on the next one.